Hello everybody, welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. 1114. The solve count. I can't remember where we were last. We were here in Solitude with... Is there a 6, 7, 6. Alrighty. Each region contains exactly 1 symbol, area numbers, and palisades. So, going to be a lot of this to start, given they can't share borders. So that's going to give us some things like this. Now, these can't be part of a set, so they're going to be 2 dead ends somewhere else along the way. This has to get out. Okay, here's what I'm currently thinking. Because this is Solitude, every tile must belong to a symbol, right? And this is all simple enough that I can reset that, but this area in total is 84. We do some quick math. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that puts us at 20, 30, 40, 55. So we know that these 2 dead end pieces, excuse you, these guys equal 55, 84, 55, 65, 75, 85 minus 1 is 29 for the 2 of them. So, we know that much to be true. Excuse you, that's that way. So that's got to get out, that's got to get out. Boxes for those. That's got to get out, that's got to get out. There's a line there. So, we can figure out a few other things. This tile can't belong to this 2 because it can't make the corner. So this 2 has to do that. And this, and this, and this, and this all have to get to one of these guys. We just don't know which yet. Same is true for this tile here, has to get out. So that's going to go to there and to there. And how they merge around one another, we're not quite sure. But I think all of this left-hand side has to be part of these guys. Now, obviously, I've been marking with X's here, but what we might normally do is pick an alternate color and commit that. This could go up or it could go down. Well, this red has to get to one of these. So what we do know is that it's going to have to be this and this and this and this. Because this 2 has to get out to here. So the red can't come around this way. And therefore the 2 and the 2 and the 2 make a diagonal that the red has to get by. Now, obviously, it could take this tile as well, but it's just left ambiguous. So there's some ambiguity on that one. Obviously, this could come in here, or this can come down and this can come in here. Now, what I'm suspecting that's going to mean is that we can't have non-unique solutions. So the idea that this could go up and do this, or down and do this, suggests to me that perhaps this 2 is going to come left. Because if this 2 goes right and this goes down, this goes down, how do we get to one of these other tiles? But that's kind of currently too much speculation for my liking. But the red has to get out, and the 2s all need to be accounted for. Now, this tile... No. I was going to say that tile can't be reached by anybody. It could be reached by that. So these are ambiguous. What else do we know? This tile. Because this 3 can't get there. This 3 can't get there. This 3 can't get there. And this 3 can't get there. So that's a red one. I'm not sure what my logic is going to be for colouring all these 3s and such. Feels like it could be easy to just start kind of colouring willy-nilly, you know? As to why something would or wouldn't work is interesting, but something I did learn from that brief exercise is that we kind of have another diagonal of 2s here. So if this tile isn't already accounted for from somebody else, i.e. this, what we're going to end up with is somebody... I guess that technically can work, but it's a problem, I think, because as I make further observations here, keep my box around that, something else I'm now seeing is this line. So shapes effectively cannot cross this line. And so one of these will be the terminus for the left side spares, and one of them will be the terminus for the right side spares, and the red zone on the left cannot cross this line. And so I'm not entirely sure what that's going to mean for implications here, but it feels like I should be able to kind of vibe out a lot of this. What it is going to mean is how do we actually make these 2 cells be terminuses for other stuff. So that's 16, which would leave 13 on the opposing side. However, I can't colour all of this zone in with what we have left. But if I do this, then that's no longer a terminus. So I'm starting to see where some of my struggles are going to lie. And the question becoming, where can we get some logic to define what's going to be left over from that? Now this lot, I did vibe colour in as well. So there's going to be something here. My real question right now is how do we colour in this lot with what we have surrounding it in a way that leaves this able to be a dead end? Now it can't, this too can't go to the right, because if we colour out everything else that we have left, we can't colour this in like this, because we know the space available after is going to need to be larger than that. Well, here's what we might do. If this is the dead end for the top, we can then come down and fill in the extra space. So that's 17, leaving 12 for the opposing side. Now, what I don't like about this is that we know that one of these tiles has got to be red, and I don't see how we can do this and get that to work out. So that's no good. Which means a lot of this is probably incorrect again, which is more for us to think about. So which guy was it? It was this guy, I think. Was our red one. Because again, we've got another diagonal here, knowing that this breaks out to there. I think it means that this red must come through this area here. Because it can't cross this boundary, and it can't cross this boundary. So that is forced to come through here, which I think makes this a red tile. Who it goes to, I'm not sure. But we're definitely getting little nuggets of information. That's just exactly how we put it together. Remains to be seen. Now, one of these two has to be red as well, I believe, because if this goes this way, we can get that and that and that, but not this. And if this goes this way, we can get that and that and that, but not this. So one of these two is ambiguously red, which I'm just going to leave as the A's. Now, are we vibing slightly? Yes. I don't deny it. But I've been known to have a good vibe from time to time. Right, the ambiguous one up here is going to have to taken by the east because of the line that we know exists here. So how do I get this to here to there? It would have to be, and then this is ambiguous to here and here. Which means this can't go this way because he only gets 2. So I think then that makes it a fact that this goes this way, this goes this way. I hope. This guy here I think has to pick up those, because if it goes up, It's either going to go left and break that line from this red to this red, or this red to this red. So I think that's going there, gets a line. Which means this can't go to here because this red can't reach that red. So that goes over, gets a box. That means that is correct. That goes over. And then that's going to take those. Needs that one for its symbol. You get that, you get that. This, 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 this. This, this, this. There you go. That wasn't too bad. It was just slowly putting together some of the boundaries. And if I'd have thought about it a little more logically rather than vibing where I vibed, we might have gotten there a bit faster, but 16 minutes for a 6 is not terrible. Right, so we've got this 6 and this 7, obviously. The 6. Solitude Mismatch Palisade. So every symbol is alone and unique. Hence solitude. Mismatch, every shape is unique. And then palisades just have to play by their rules. I think that is true. And just do that again in my head. So this has a parallel line with that, which means its colors must protrude. We can't take that, so that must get a line, which means that has a parallel to this. That means that gets to those. Yes, I'm happy with that. This guy here is a corner that is backed up onto a flat side, so it must protrude outwards and then either one way or the other. Going the other way would make this an island, so that's going to get that. That's going to go over here. This is one of our 2 3s, so we can have a 3 long line somewhere else, but obviously there are going to be other things to consider. Obviously, this shape can't inherit this tile or this tile as well, which means we're going to get a hard edge here and here, which then puts an L shape against a wall. So that means that's going to get that and one of the sides. And this is going to get that and one of its sides. Now, if it's the bottom side, we make another island, which is no good. So this is taking this. That can't be left alone, so it's going to take that. This is no longer ambiguous, so you get a line, you come across to here. Now, there is some ambiguity here. Okay, no, there's not. This can't go across, because then we have 2 3s. So, you are the 2. Now, if this is this or this, we don't know yet, so there is ambiguity in that. And also in this. But that means that must take that and also that corner, which removes that ambiguity. Can't have 2 squares, so somebody is going to have to take an extra piece somewhere. Where that is, we don't quite yet know. Let's move over here. This guy in the corner has its 2 edges already defined, so it must take this and this. We know it's going to have more than that because this shape already exists and we're on mismatch. But it does tell us that this line exists, and therefore that exists, therefore this line exists, and that exists, which is going to inherit this, which means that and that exists, and this is going to go up and over, which means that exists. Can't be a 2, because we already have the 2 certainly accounted for, which means it's going to go over. Can't be a 3. It could be a 3, this could be a 4, and then that could go over. So this ends up as an unknown. However, we get this and this telling us that goes there and that goes there. So that is the 3, which means this is not the 3. So that goes over, which means that must come up at least 1. Might be more, but that gets rid of this ambiguity and also this ambiguity. This also tells us that there's lines here and here and that this is going to come down to there. Now, this can't be a 4 long line because we already have a 4 long line. It can't leave this tile unaccounted for because solitude is in play. So this is either going to be this with this, or this, and this is the 4, and this gets bigger. But we don't currently know, so there's just kind of general ambiguity about these three cooperating together. What else do we have? Fantastic question. Well, every symbol now has something. This can't be a 3 because the 3's accounted for, so that's got to go over. This can't be 3 because the 3's accounted for, so that's got to go over. That's locked in. This can't be the 3, so that's got to go down. That's the 4, which means this can't be a 4, has to be at least a 5. This can't be the same shape as that, so it's got to be at least a W. This can't be a 3, has to get bigger. That's a 4. I think we're probably looking at this and this. And then... how do we disambiguate for these couple here? We can have one that's a 4 with a nubbin. We can have one that's just a 4. So there's just a 4. No. Come on, brain. We're so close. We flew through this one comparative to the last one. How do we make these all unique? That line must exist. We know that. You can't be a 4 long line. So if I do that, that's no good. Oh. No. I can't have this before and this before. But I can't have those two exist as well. Oh, I'm sad that I lost the train of my logic when I went, oh yeah, we'll just do these ones in the middle. Because we are so very close. Those two can't be the same. So that makes those better. Oh, hold on. If you go in... oh, no, 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 no. You need your corner. You need your corner. You can't be a 4, so you have to be at least a 5. Which forces that. There it is. You're the 4, and you get an extra side nubbin. Lovely. Like, that 6 compared to the last 6. This flew through this. So much so that I might dare to try the 7 now and have a video that's going to go certainly longer than my usual half hour. Solitude, Precision 5, Area, Palisade, Precision 5, Solitude. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, this guy, excuse me, this guy can't do this because that would then do that. Now, here's the problem with that. One of them has to go upwards, but the other could go sideways. So, who's most likely to give us, like, a definite in? This has to be either this or this, which means that either this cell or this cell is consumed by this guy. So this is going to have either this line with these, or this line with these. So you definitely get at least these. These are certainties. I bet there's going to be a bunch of, like, tiny little things like that. Like, this guy here has to be a dead end that gets out in one of these directions. Although only these two directions give this a line to work from. If this did this, and that did that, you would have to take that. You would have to take this, because it's the only shape that can get that far over. Which means this can't exist, because now we can't do that, leaving an empty space. So I think that might disambiguate our up-down notion. Because if this is upright, no matter how we try and take... Oh, no. That could be true. Alright, you got me. Now, is this too vibey? Or am I onto something? I wish I could save state this. I guess the best I've got is... So our other option would be this. I did that. That can't take this bottom corner, so you'd have to take this. And you can't take that tile, because that gets left alone. Can't take either of those. That would have to be parallel, so it would have to be this. And that can't exist, because this tile can't go to there or there. So, I think that means that this is the correct way that's going to go. And then, as discussed, we can't do that. Can't do that. So it would have to be this. Then this tile has to be accompanied by something within its range of 5. That gets a parallel line. And then I think if we get rid of these, I think this cell can only be reached by this guy. Like, that can't stretch down far enough and have its rules be considered. But that means this is going to take this and then one of either this or this. And now we have some wiggle room, I think. Assuming this is correct. And I could check progress just to see if I'm on a good foundation, but I'm not going to do that right now. So, this guy is up against a back wall, so it has to go upwards. Begs the question, who's going to take this tile? Well, we can't do that around a wall. And nobody else... that's not true. Except if we do this... I guess we could do that. And then this. But then who's taking this tile? Not any of these guys. Because if I did, even if I did that, that can't do that. Use you, shift, because that breaks. So I think that must be true. I think. I hope this is so far so good. So that takes up this tile. Where do we go next? Great question. Well, this guy is going to have to get a line. And if we just do some looking around, it's going to be a T-shape plus 1. So it's going to be one of those shapes in one of those orientations. Okay, this is going to tell us a lot, I think, because of the way this guy makes his T. Unless it's this way around, would define where two of these guys end up going to. Now, I think this tile is interesting, because it can't reach this tile. No, that's not correct, because we can definitely make a shape like this. Can't we? Well, can we? Because if this does this, that can't make the corner. If this does this, that can't make the corner. If that does that, these two can't. Okay. No, because could do that. Can't do that and leave that one. Would have to be this, which would leave that and that. Now I like the look of this, but again, it's a little vibey, and I can't deny it. So that gets to there. Oh, I'm so prepared to like get up to here and something won't work and be like, oh, well, we vibed it back in this bottom left corner. I think this cell can only be reached by this tile. And it's starting to look suspiciously like this might be that shape. However, if we did that could be viable. Except it can't. No, because that could do that and that, which means you get forced into there. Now, this would come either over or up, which is going to then have knock-on effects to how this goes. I'm so worried. If this did this, nothing can reach that tile. Oh, except it. Yeah. There is that, isn't it? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, this is just crumbling down now, isn't it? Okay. Let's go back to about here. That goes that way. Then that parallels that. That gets the cross. That picks up this and this. Has to pick up that. And then it's going to go here or here. Flexibility in that. I'm going to get rid of this because I understand that well enough now. If this goes this way... If this goes this way, this would have to be true, and we can't take those. So I think that has to go that way. Who's taking these? Ugh. Who is taking these? Nobody. I like this less and less. Just in this top right corner altogether. If this is doing this, then that has to be parallel to that. That picks up those, has to take the corner. Can at most take one more. Then nothing can take this. These two just get locked in limbo. So this is suggesting to me that this is going this way. So now I'm back on this idea. This can't go that way. This it can. But can it go this way? I don't think it can. I don't think I can get to this now. So that would have to be true. I feel like I've been down this path before. Yeah, it's begging who gets to this. How have I done this? It's so close to working. But you can't take that tile, is the big problem. Oh? I'll take it. I didn't use check progress once, and we were largely correct through like the first kind of all this bottom half, solid. And then we just had to renegotiate a little bit after we figured out the way that this line had to go vertically and that this guy had to take up that top left corner. I'm very happy. And Show me those sweet, sweet sparkles. Solitude. Done. So, lag much? That puts us at 19 of 20 perfected windows. And up here it's just rows where there's one puzzle that I'm acutely aware of, and match where there are two puzzles that I'm acutely aware of. Otherwise, that's the two top rows done. Inequality and hedge maze sorted. Then we have bricky, tough. Loopy, even more tough. Difference shouldn't be too bad. Watchtower, we only got 2 left. Compass, only got 5 left. And then it's just Spiral Island and Secluded Garden. Like, we're getting there, guys. We really are. For now, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.